This young woman, who became legendary with her firearm, was a quiet yet groundbreaking revolutionary of the 19th century. Born in Ohio as Phoebe Ann Moses, better known as Annie Oakley, she showcased her extraordinary talent to the world at the age of 15 by defeating a famous traveling sharpshooter in a shooting competition. In her performances, she would shoot coins mid-air, leaving spectators breathless. During one of Buffalo Bill's Wild West show exhibitions, her remarkable feat of shooting a coin mid-air even captivated European royal families. It is said that the Prince of Germany allowed Oakley to shoot a hole through his hat with her rifle. The year 1886 witnessed one of the pivotal moments in the Wild West, the capture of the bandit queen, Belle Starr. As one of the most notorious female outlaws of her time, Starr was said to maintain her elegance even during her arrest. Legend has it that before surrendering her weapon, she made an offer. "If you let me go, I can promise you a golden reward." However, Barnhill declined the proposal, and Starr was sent to prison. The year 1893 marked a turning point for Laura Bullion, who was captured in a mugshot by the Pinkerton Detective Agency. As a member of Butch Cassidy's infamous Wild Bunch gang, Bullion lived a life overshadowed by train robberies. She served 5 years in prison in 1901 for her involvement in the Great Northern Train robbery. Laura Bullion's story, ending in poverty in 1961, serves as a poignant reminder of the danger and hope that defined the Wild West. One of the brave hearts of the Wild West, Calamity Jane, a story that transcends time. Born in 1852 as Martha Jane Canary, better known as Calamity Jane, she was a frontier woman celebrated for her courage and kindness. She took part in various conflicts with Native American tribes, and her connection with Wild Bill Hickok remains a tale of both friendship and mystery. According to legend, during one battle, she carried a severely injured soldier on her back to safety. It is said that the soldier continued to visit her grave long after her death. Wyatt Earp, the symbol of justice in the Wild West, is captured here in the peaceful twilight of a life far removed from the echoes of gunfire. A central figure in Arizona's infamous OK Corral shootout, Earp became one of the most recognized names in Wild West history. An intriguing detail is that in his later years, he worked as a film consultant in Hollywood. It's said that John Wayne drew inspiration from Earp's stories to shape his iconic Western characters. In 1886, on the arid lands of Arizona, 11-year-old Jimmy McKinn became part of the Apache tribe. Abducted by the Apaches, Jimmy refused to return to his family upon rescue. The tribe had treated him not merely as a captive, but as one of their own. It is said that during the rescue operation he cried out, "Don't take me away from here." Some even claim that Jimmy participated in one of the tribe's sacred ceremonies. In 1889, the Table Bluff Hotel and Saloon in California's Humboldt County was a vibrant hub reflecting the colorful world of the American West. Chairs made from deer antlers and bear skins symbolized the triumphs of hunters who gathered there. The saloon was a meeting point for hunters and gold prospectors of the era. According to local legends, a hunter who struck gold refused to share his secrets with the townsfolk and mysteriously vanished within weeks. The largest antlers displayed on the wall were said to represent a record-breaking hunt in the region. Brown's Basin, nestled in Arizona's Four Peaks region, served as a haven for hunters and trappers in the late 1800s. The animal pelts processed there formed the backbone of local trade, while also supplying goods to visiting gold prospectors. According to legend, hunters using the cabin discovered a map left behind by a missing gold miner. However, their journey to follow it was abruptly cut short for unknown reasons. Neither the map nor the gold was ever seen again. In 1851, Portsmouth Square in the heart of San Francisco was making history as one of the epicenters of the gold rush. During these peak years, the square was lined with wooden structures and makeshift shacks. A shopkeeper on the corner of the square amassed a small fortune by collecting the gold dust left behind by his customers. In the mid-19th century, the backbone of America's railroad construction was built by hands from distant lands. Initially hired only for manual labor, Chinese workers soon earned recognition for their skill and craftsmanship, taking on crucial roles from laying tracks to masonry and even foreman positions. In 1867, a group of Chinese laborers achieved the near impossible by completing a tunnel through the Sierra Nevada mountains. While this accomplishment earned them respect, it also sparked a wave of hatred against Chinese immigrants due to growing labor competition. This striking photograph from 1904 reveals the mystical traditions of the Navajo people. The masks and body paints used in these ceremonies were a means of connecting with supernatural forces in Navajo culture. According to legend, one of the masks used during the ritual was designed to end a devastating drought. After the ceremony concluded, heavy rains fell upon the region, which the tribe saw as a sacred gift from the spirits. High in the peaks of the San Juan Mountains, the gold rush of the 1800s unfolded with all its hardships. This region in Colorado was one of the most perilous yet promising places of its time. In 1880 alone, approximately 500 tons of ore were recorded as mined here. Legend has it that one miner struck it rich with a gold vein found in the frozen ground, but perished in a storm while attempting to take his fortune further south. To this day, these mountains carry not only the dreams but also the tragedies of gold seekers. On April 22, 1889, Oklahoma's open lands became the stage for the largest land rush in history. Over 50,000 people participated to claim portions of 2 million acres. Parcels of 160 acres were offered for free, but settlers were required to develop and utilize the land. One participant, Mary Collins, famously fell from her horse during the race but refused to give up, running to her plot on foot. The land she claimed later became one of Oklahoma's largest agricultural estates. Roy Bean was the law west of the Pecos River, running his courtroom out of the back of a saloon. In the late 19th century, amidst the Texas deserts, he became known as the hanging judge, despite sentencing only 2 people to death. Interestingly, one of them managed to escape before execution. According to stories, Roy Bean was once seen sipping whiskey while deciding a criminal's fate. His sense of justice was part bar humor, part law book. In the dusty Texas plains of the 19th century, capturing a bull was not just a job, but an art form. By the 1880s, America had recorded 27 million cattle, with hundreds of thousands branded and rounded up annually in open fields like these. In this image, young Billy Jenkins, an orphan at just 15, achieved his first great feat by capturing this bull. Years later, he would be remembered as the Wild West's youngest and bravest trail leader. Another day in the Wild West comes to an end as cowboys gather around a table where every bite reflects hard-earned toil. This tent and chuck wagon symbolize the bustling life of ranches in the 1880s. Chuck wagons, first designed in 1866 by Charles Goodnight, became icons of the rugged Western lifestyle. According to legend, Henry Thompson, a cook, was more than just a camp chef. He was a hero. On a cold night in 1887, he spotted bandits approaching their campsite and devised a clever plan to fend them off, saving his crew. It's said he left his soup unfinished that night. In the desolate lands of the Wild West, J.L. Niebergall's modest store offered more than goods. It sold the hope of survival. From sturdy boots to thick fabrics, Niebergall became a trusted supplier for gold prospectors and adventurers alike. Merchants like him played a crucial role in the survival of local communities. According to legend, a pair of boots purchased from his store saved a miner's life in the harsh desert. Years later, that miner struck gold and returned to Niebergall to thank him for saving his life. Life on a ranch in the scorching lands of the Wild West began with the grueling task of branding. This photograph depicts a ranch scene from the late 1800s when approximately 5 million cattle were branded annually. Branding was crucial for protecting herds from theft and establishing ownership. Legend has it that one calf branded on this ranch went on to lead the region's largest herd, bringing its owner immense wealth. America's growing towns were built on the backs of these silent heroes, the mountain workers, mules. A mule could carry up to 150 kilograms and traverse miles of rugged terrain. In the late 1800s, materials like lumber, coal, and even household goods were transported on the shoulders of these resilient animals. The lumber seen in this photo was used to build a town's first church. To this day, the labor of these mules can still be felt in the church's walls. In the snow-covered mountains of Colorado, these cabins were the miners' only refuge for survival. In the 1890s, they served as both homes and shields against the brutal winter months, where temperatures often plummeted to -30 degrees and the cabins were frequently buried under snow. One miner living in this very cabin was found with over 150 unsent letters to his family. These letters are now displayed in a small museum in the mining town, preserving his story. In the heart of Yellowstone lies a natural wonder, Old Faithful Geyser, erupting like clockwork. Discovered in 1870, this marvel is renowned for its precision. Erupting every 44 to 125 minutes on average, it shoots water up to 40 meters high, releasing thousands of gallons with each burst. In the 1890s, a journalist set his watch to document the eruption but lost it during the spectacle. It's said the watch's fragments still lie buried in Yellowstone's soil. In 1868, one of America's greatest engineering projects rose amidst these rugged lands. The Green River Valley Railroad Bridge was constructed in the wilds of Wyoming, with the iconic Citadel Rock in the background, symbolizing the region's harsh yet captivating landscape. Built through the labor of thousands, this railway became a vital link uniting the continent. Legend has it that one worker, gazing at the sunrise over this challenging terrain, wrote, "One day, this place will be the heart of civilization." Today, that railway line still carries the marks of history. In the 1870s, the lifeblood of indigenous peoples was being destroyed, as starkly represented by this massive pile of bison skulls. Bison were essential to the cultural and physical survival of native tribes. U.S. Army policies sought to decimate these animals by the millions, leaving tribes to face starvation. This bone pile represents only a fraction of the tens of thousands of bison slaughtered during that era. According to a historian, the man atop the pile was the hunter's leader, and the photo was taken to celebrate the tribe's supposed submission. However, over time, this image has come to symbolize indigenous resilience and resistance. In 1903, in the town of Pocatello, Idaho, this black sheriff became the voice of justice. While 1 in 4 cowboys in the Wild West was black, history books have often overlooked their contributions. After the Civil War, cowboying was one of the few career paths offering freedom for black men. According to local stories, this sheriff once saved townspeople held hostage by a gang in Pocatello, managing to protect the town without spilling any blood. The Wild West was a hopeful oasis for thousands seeking freedom. After the Civil War, the Western Territories symbolized a fresh start for freed slaves. It was a place where not only could one build a new life, but also leave behind societal prejudices. In this photograph, Samuel Johnson stands as a testament to that dream. He relocated his family from the constraints of the East to the prairies of Wyoming, creating a new life. His success story inspired many others to follow in his footsteps. This 1881 portrait captures a pioneer seeking fortune in California's silver mines. Following the 1849 gold rush, Calico emerged as a hotspot, housing some of the richest silver veins in the state. By the late 1880s, Calico had become one of the country's largest silver suppliers. This unnamed miner spent years in the dusty paths of Calico, working tirelessly in the mines to secure a better future for his family. However, the declining silver prices brought on by the Silver Purchase Act eventually turned his efforts into a story of disappointment. The Kansas Plains of 1902. A cowboy skillfully prepares his rope to guide his herd. By the late 19th century, Kansas had become the hub of America's cattle trade. Thousands of cattle were gathered and driven across these plains before being shipped east. This cowboy, known as Jake, reportedly lost only 2 cattle from his herd that year, while delivering over 300 to Kansas City. However, this success came after weeks of grueling travel, filled with storms, wild animal attacks, and sleepless nights, marking a true tale of perseverance on the open range. A name that echoes across America's frontier lands. Geronimo, a leader who fought for freedom. Born in 1829, Geronimo was a courageous Apache leader who resisted both American and Mexican armies for 25 years. Ultimately, in 1886, he surrendered and was exiled to a reservation in Arizona. This 1887 photograph stands as evidence of Geronimo's journey from the battlefield to a figure used for propaganda. It's said that the income he earned from such photographs was used to support the education of young warriors on the reservation, a new form of resistance. In 1848, the California gold rush began, and this frenzied search turned into legend with a man holding a gold-filled pan. This 1851 portrait captures a miner in the midst of the gold rush, an era that transformed not only California but the entire United States economically and culturally. Between 1848 and 1855, around 300,000 people tried their luck in the region. Legend has it that this miner donated a massive gold nugget he discovered to a church in San Francisco for its bell. The bell, symbolizing wealth and generosity, is still spoken of today. It's said that anyone who hears it ringing makes a wish. This face carries the untold stories of the Wild West. Hidden within the gaze of Iron White Man lies a history unspoken. A member of the Lakota Sioux, Iron White Man was part of Buffalo Bill's famous Wild West show, reenacting Native American hunting and warfare traditions to highlight their role in American history. However, these performances often commercialized Native heritage. According to legend, Iron White Man once performed a scene so authentically that he was honored by a Native chief among the audience. The red paint he wore on stage symbolized a past victory in battle. A story of freedom shining through the darker side of the Wild West. In the 19th century, prostitution was a widespread reality, often ignored by society. Yet, the untamed freedom of the West offered some women the chance to forge their own paths. Many ran brothels, gaining economic independence and challenging traditional gender roles. Legend has it that a woman named Clara started as an ordinary worker, but, through her intelligence and courage, rose to own one of the region's largest brothels. Clara transformed her earnings into a legendary legacy by donating to education and her community, leaving behind a story of resilience and empowerment. The dazzling star of Buffalo Bill's Wild West show, Whirling Hawk. A member of the Sioux tribe, Whirling Hawk performed in the late 19th century in a spectacle that exoticized and commodified Native cultures. As a bearer of historical heritage, Whirling Hawk captivated audiences on stage while concealing the turbulent realities of his people behind the scenes. These shows turned the symbols of a once-free people into mere displays, blending admiration with a poignant loss of autonomy. On Buffalo Bill's stage, Whirling Horse stood as a silent narrator of history and culture. A Sioux artist, he performed in the famed Wild West show, an event that both celebrated and commodified Native heritage. With his feathered headdress and striking presence, Whirling Horse captivated audiences while carrying the untold stories of his people's resistance to colonialism. These shows often simplified and exoticized Native identities, reducing rich histories into spectacles for public entertainment.